You know, sometimes I'll have a photographer who's literally 6 inches away from my balls and I can feel his breath on my balls as he's taking the photos. And, you know, he's just trying to do his job. I'm just trying to do mine. So, but if you can work with someone who you're cool with, it makes that scenario a lot easier for everyone. So I used to work on a building site. That was great. I went to Germany for the World Cup, and a few friends saw my cock one day and just sort of made a joke, you know, that I should really be doing something that and not working on a building site. And it just sparked an idea, you know, that someone somewhere was a porn star and maybe I could give it a go. So I started just going to a few like swinging clubs and things like that, just to sort of see if I had the confidence or the ability to have sex in front of strangers. I ended up meeting a guy there who paid me to have sex with his wife. He obviously saw in my face I was amazed by it, and he said, "I'll give you 150 euros every time you do that." And I just literally was like, let's go again.
That's a lot of money.
It was at 18. Yeah, I was 18, so I could just keep going.
So how did you go from that experience to actually entering the industry?
There was a lot of legwork. I had to sort of, you know, prove myself, if you were, you know, working for a lot of smaller companies to be able to get an opportunity to work for a bigger company. And after you sort of worked with the bigger companies, you was able to get a series or like 5-scene deal or something. And yeah, basically just had to work through the ranks and keep working for the better companies until I sort of got to an established part where I am now.
Talk me through a porn shoot from call time to wrap. What happens?
So generally on a porn shoot, everyone will arrive on set. We will have all been pre-tested for STI tests and stuff like that before anyone enters set. Once everyone's paperwork's signed off, we're signing the GEL. We have a full legal disclaimer and paperwork and everything that we have to run through. Once all that's gone through, we'll put the GEL into makeup. From there, we'll usually then run into the acting, where we go through all the dialogue of the script and sort of get everything out of the way up until the sex. At that point, we'll break, prep for sex, where the guys and girls go and clean themselves and have some lunch, whatever they need to do before sex. And then generally we'll rattle out the scene, do sex stills first, then sex video afterwards. The sex stills basically are the photos of the scene, but they definitely help the performers just find the flow. So rather than just calling action and two people have got to go at it, we kind of use the stills to maybe guide the direction of the scene, so we know what position is going to flow to next position and what positions are comfortable or uncomfortable for certain performers. So the stills definitely help as like a sort of guideline to the scene. Then we shoot the outro, and that's pretty much it. After that point, there's a little bit more paperwork at the end, but that's pretty much our day.
Not as glamorous as everyone might perceive it to be.
Certainly not what everyone perceives, yeah. Most people's perception of porn is like a giant orgy or just like a huge gangbang, and just everyone goes there and has sex and the cameraman gets involved, and after that he has a go, and it couldn't be further away from the truth. A lot of people might think it's glamorous and stuff, but it doesn't always end that way. You know, sometimes I'll have a photographer who's literally 6 inches away from my balls and I can feel his breath on my balls as he's taking the photos. And, you know, he's just trying to do his job. I'm just trying to do mine. So, but if you can work with someone who you're cool with, it makes that scenario a lot easier for everyone.
I just feel like it's almost amazing to have enough confidence to sleep with someone in front of like 10 crew members.
It's extremely easy to have sex in front of people. It's more in your head, to be fair. It's one of them, if you're able just to be in the moment, enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't matter what's around you. You know, if you have sex in a hotel room, you don't look at all the pictures and stuff on the wall. They're just around you, you know. When you're in the moment, the crew they're just paintings on the wall.
There's like a fascination about the adult industry, and do you think it's fair the way that the media represents the industry?
I personally don't think the porn industry gets portrayed in a very good light. Most documentaries are looking for the negative story. No one wants to hear how great the porn star's life is. My life personally is amazing, and everything that's amazing about it has come through adult. It's changed my life. I've been able to buy homes and look after my family. Of course, there's some bad eggs, but generally, most speaking, I've only dealt with great people and had positive experiences. At the end of the day, nothing's more sexier in the footage than a performer enjoying themselves and having fun. Like, we don't want someone to do something they're not comfortable with or not happy with.
What would you say is the biggest cliche that people think about when they think of porn?
Fluffers. Every single person I've ever met thinks there's a fluffer, you know, just that's job is to get the guys hard. Nothing could be more further from the truth, if I'm honest. It was very eloquently explained to me once that if you can't get hard for the girl that we're paying you to fuck, then why would we pay another girl to suck you off? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. That and just everyone having an orgy on set. They're just the most two common misconceptions that people have. They think it's just a wild party with drugs and hookers, or that it's, that fluffers are everywhere just sucking people off. So I kind of wish there were fluffers, you know, just that would be great.
And how have you found sustaining a relationship whilst working in the industry?
It can be difficult. When I first started out, it was very difficult to find a relationship or keep hold of a relationship. You know, you can't be an idiot to the fact of what you're doing. You know, you are having sex with people. That is tough to deal with. I think if anyone had to sort of be okay with their partner, there will be some jealousy, there will be some issues, you know, but personally, I've been very lucky. My wife's very supportive of my career. Before I met my wife, it was difficult. You know, it's you meet someone, you might get along, you tell them you do porn for a living, it's kind of closes the door pretty quick.
Does it pay well?
Porn can pay well, yep, certainly can. Medium level performer, obviously guys earn a little bit less than girls, but you know, £1,000 a day someone could easily earn for a scene. And as I say, so it can work out quite well, especially if you've got a good brand or a good look, and you can end up getting lots of bookings. You know, a lot of industries, the men tend to earn higher. But yeah, there's a lot of females that do generally straight from the box command a higher rate than male talent. But as you find, as you go through the industry, the more desirable male talent, the stronger male talent, they catch up pretty quickly to the female talent, because a good guy is worth his weight in gold, you know.
Do you have a genre that like you perform the most?
I wouldn't say I have a genre that I perform the most. Most of my scenes are sort of me and one girl, or me and two girls. But I do generally like to do the features where we get to kind of build a character and kind of get to play a character for say 5 scenes and follow a story-based script. Normally we just kind of get the run-of-the-mill acting script, whether it be the plumber or the pizza guy or whatever. So when we do get a feature and you really get to sink your teeth into a character, I really do enjoy that, because it just gives you a bit of a different challenge to what your normal day is, and you get to build a character out of nothing and then sort of follow his journey throughout the film. One character I really enjoyed playing was a character called Murphy. He was a survivor of a dystopian world, and basically women sort of ruled the world, and petrol and things like that was like the new commodities of the world, and he was a sort of like an underground cop kind of thing, trying to hunt these baddies, and we had amazing locations and proper underground tunnels and bases and stuff like that. So that was an amazing character that I got to play with, and I decided that he was an American, so yeah, I got to do a silly accent for a week, which was kind of fun.
How did you integrate sex into that? Sounds like a whole film on its own.
Yeah, it was a whole film on its own, and there was lots of different strange elements that we brought into that. You know, it's from a dystopian world. We was able to go really, really out there in our styling and our costumes. For one of the girls, I built her. Well, I got this gas mask and then attached the front of a fleshlight to the mask, so she basically had just a vagina in her gas mask face, and then did the scene with the gas mask face, which looked really cool. But it's like something that we definitely couldn't put into a normal adult film. So a lot of the time we'll see something from conventional stuff that we like the idea of. You know, that happens a lot. I've just saw a clip the other day on YouTube from a haywire fight scene where a guy and a girl just literally destroy a hotel room having a fight, and I was like, that would look great as a sex scene. Just 2 guys beat the crap out of each other, smash everything up, and then in the throes of passion have sex. So yeah, inspiration can come from anywhere. I suppose we just look at different ideas and sort of see how we can convert that or mold that into our industry.
Is there something you can pinpoint that has changed the industry at all?
So I'd definitely say like the introduction of other platforms. There's so many different platforms now, such as OnlyFans, ManyVids, all those types of things where content creators can upload their own footage and charge the end user. That's a whole new concept that kind of wasn't around, say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago. People can upload content to their own platform with their phone and charge X amount a month and hit the consumer directly. And again, the type of content that they're able to produce is a lot different to the content that has been accessible for so long. You know, it does feel a lot more personal, a lot more one-on-one with the performer. And I definitely think that's a market that has grown because of that interactiveness.
As a porn star, director and company owner, what is important to you to do in the industry to make it better?
Yeah, I think the porn industry is ready for change. The main changes will be to empower our performers. You know, we want girls to feel empowered in their scenes. I want them to be happy with their performances. And that's something that we're really big on. You know, every morning, as I say, we like to go through a full checklist of everything that the performer likes to do, things they don't like to do. We have all crew on set to listen to that, just so that if anyone hears anything or sees anything that the girl said, oh, I'm not really a fan of that, then they can interject. We like everyone to be completely on the same page before we start shooting, so that there's no misconceptions. You know, there'll be several hand signals given to the girl. If she wants to stop, she can give a hand signal to a member of crew who will then cut the scene. She can cut the scene at any point. You know, it's definitely about just empowering so that people don't have negative experiences, or so that people feel that they have a voice on set.
In the UK, as a porn actor, do you feel accepted?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, plenty of people recognise me, say hello and applaud my work. And yeah, and as I say, I feel accepted to a certain degree. Is it as applauded as it is in America? Certainly not. But yeah, it's definitely getting better over the years. I've noticed that, you know, as a whole, society is becoming a lot more open to adult entertainment and stuff. It's not as stuffy as it once was, but we do definitely have a little way to go to catch up onto the Americans.
Is it an industry you would recommend people getting involved in?
I think it's something you have to be very aware of what you're getting into. When you're 18 or whatever age, it might seem like a great fun idea. Is that going to be, are you going to have that same mentality when you're 33? Maybe not. You know, it is a difficult decision, something that you definitely need to know what you're going into. Once you put something on the internet, it's out there. It's always out there. You can't change your mind. And that applies to everything. It's not just porn. I mean, even like nudes. If you send a nude, you can't take that back, no matter how much you want. Someone's downloaded it. And it's the same thing for porn. You know, people come, they'll do the scene, they like it, and then they meet someone and they don't want to do it, or they have children, or, you know, it definitely has a big impact on your life, and something you just have to really be sure that it's something that you want to do.
Has there been any moment where you've just thought, I'm going to pack this in, I can't do this anymore?
You know what? I've never really considered it. I love my job. I love what I do. It's not about the sex. I literally go to work and hang out with my friends every single day. I get to create movies and films and stuff that I just geek out on all day, and I get to play with fancy cameras and build really cool things. And yeah, I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather do. If anything, it's just, I always think about how I can maintain, like, how can I keep this going? Like, I started porn when I was 18, I'm now 33, and I've never had to have a real job. As I say, I don't feel like I work a day in my life, and for me, that's just the win.
I actually thought he was going to walk off, and I see him look at me, and he had a thought, and now I know what the thought was. I've got to kill him. And he just walked up to me, and he just went bang, bang, straight in the head.